Okay, so the Greenbelt was originally intended to prevent fragmentation in agriculture. It was intended to preserve natural environmental heritage areas that already exist. And while I really believe that those initiatives and the idea of the Greenbelt was great, it was a tremendous, it was a good idea moving forward. Now I think 10 years into it, I think we've learned a thing or two. Number one, you have to remember it's all about balance. It really is all about balance. So I'm gonna backtrack a little bit. And when it comes to agriculture and preventing fragmentation, because you're saying this area is Greenbelt, oh, but this area is not Greenbelt, and it's probably perfectly good agricultural land, but because of the Greenbelt policy, it's all of a sudden it's not. So you are essentially fragmenting the land. I think what we need to do when we're looking at expanding the Greenbelt moving forward, I think what we need to be concentrating on is, number one, balance. And from my perspective, I think we need to prioritize agricultural uses. We need to balance that off with environmental, natural heritage areas, and then housing and development. So, and then when you drill down further with those three items, I think you have to be mindful of agriculture. You can't just grow food, and food and farming cannot occur just anywhere. There are certain classes of land that you can farm on. So I think you can't replace those. So you have to focus on those lands, those classifications. If you're using the Lear land classification system, it's 1 to 4. Well, 4 is marginal, but 4, you can still grow food on it with minimal inputs. I mean, you still have to have your inputs, but it's more conducive to food and farming. And then you look at your environmental natural heritage area, which is also part of what the Greenbelt was established to protect. And while it could be argued that, oh yeah, you can create these areas artificially, they will not perform to the extent and as efficiently as they perform occurring naturally. And it's going to cost a fortune. I mean, just look at anybody who's doing rainscaping or implementing lid measures in development. It's a little more costly. At the end of the day, it's a great thing. So preserving the environmental natural heritage features that exist, that has to be taken into account. The third component is housing and development. Can you build houses anywhere? Yes, you can. They don't have to be on that Class 1 prime agricultural land. They could be moved off to and developed in a Class 5 land. So I think moving forward, it has to be about balance, prioritizing, and then using common sense to figure out what's what, and actually making sure that we're protecting the agricultural land in areas where there's lots of agriculture, and then we can help, we can create the value added components, because it's pointless saving farmland if you can't do anything on the farmland. That's been one of the negative impacts of the Greenbelt and the Oak Ridges Moraine Conservation Plan and the Niagara Escarpment Plan and the Growth Plan. It's restrictive as to what farmers can do on their land. So we need to be changing that and making sure that, okay, we're protecting the land and allow farmers to remain viable and do what they do. In our environmental natural heritage areas, we have to make sure, nature has to come first. So when you're looking at your natural heritage areas. So to me, that makes a lot of common sense.